Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Banking on African Leaders. My name is Lerato Qwabe. I am your host. And this is our very first episode, and we are coming all the way from Sandton at the BMF event where we are tracking the transformation. I am honored to be with the Deputy Minister of Home Affairs, Mr. Njabulo Nzuza. Welcome to Banking on African Leaders, sir.
Thank you for your kind words of welcome, and thank you for having us.
Thank you, sir. So, Minister, I would like you to please just take us through to brief us about the Home Affairs Ministry role in supporting South Africa's investment and economic development goals.
Well, Home Affairs is one of the very critical institutions in the country in supporting economic growth and making sure that we keep the country secured. Now it starts with us making sure that we achieve universal registration of our citizens so that they are able to transact. Because if citizens are unable to transact because they don't have identity, it means growth will never happen in the country, transactions will never be carried out, our banking sector will not work as much as it should. So it's very important that we register citizens of the country from a very young age so that they can be able to be economically active and also drive accountable economic activity within the country. Now, the other role that we play is through our immigration systems, which really has to do with attracting investment, because investment does not move without the movement of people. So we have to facilitate a meaningful movement of people that really fosters economic growth, particularly in the tourism sector. We have to make sure that we issue visas on time for our visitors so that they can then impact, but also building digital platforms now wherein people can be able to transact with us whilst being at home at the comfort of their own homes, apply for visas, get those visas issued digitally, which makes it easier for them to come into the country. That's boosting our tourism operations in the country. We are also looking at other innovative ways. We have recently launched the Trusted Employer Scheme, which is important for countries that are coming here to make investment so that they facilitate the movement of the skills that they need outside of the country into the country. And obviously those skills will then transfer to our own citizens, meaning that we then gain a bigger set of skills. We have also just done the issue of the Trusted Traveler Scheme, which means we accredit tourism companies that will be bringing in people. So it is very exciting for us, the phase that we're in.
That's very exciting. And how are we showcasing our competitive advantage compared to other African countries and regions like East African?
Yes, South Africa is one of the leading countries in terms of civic registration and in terms of visa administration. For instance, we're number 2 in Africa in terms of civic registration, second to Egypt. And we have also made sure that we expand our base in which we register our citizens. So South Africa is one of the good countries that people can come and visit, and obviously one of the few in Africa that will have had an e-visa regime, one of the few that will now have what we call an electronic traveler authorization. So those are all the opportunities that really put us at a leading base in how we accept our customers, also our citizens from other countries, but also in terms of the strength of our passport, in terms of the areas where it's able to visit, is quite very strong.
That's exciting. And what are synergies that have been introduced to align education and skills for new entries into the labor force?
Well, the issues of the labor force are mainly dealt with by the Department of Labor, and our role there is just to make sure that citizens of the country are registered and they do have enabling documents for them to be able to enter the labor force. And also in terms of skills transfer, we always make sure that when people come from outside of the country to open firms here and they come with their own foreign national skilled force, we accept that it must come in for the first time, but also as time goes on, they must transfer those particular skills. One of the things that we do is that we administrate what we call a critical skills list. We do that with the Department of Higher Education so that we can facilitate skills that are really critical into the country, whilst the ones that we have in the country can also be used.
That's very exciting. You are doing very well in your department, Minister.
Thank you.
And how are the border and immigration policies evolving to support cross-border trade and regional investment?
Well, it's quite a very exciting space. I mean, in 2019, we saw the coming into law of the Border Management Authority, which has been very influential in how we manage borders, because you will understand that if you are unable to manage your borders very well, it promotes illicit trade, which on the other hand collapses your own economy.
Absolutely.
So that Border Management Authority was very important for us. It is now moving to the tech with the introduction of drone technology that is able to mend our border line. But one of the most exciting things that we're doing in the border environment is that we are doing what we call there is a project that we call it's an upgrade of the borders, about 6 ports of entry. We call it a one-stop border post, which will facilitate the movement of goods easily between two countries, which means that you will no longer see those long queues of trucks coming to take out cargo to other countries for us to get resources back. It means it will be much smoother, much easier for us to move goods in and out of the country and also combat illicit trade.
And has it been implemented as yet?
We are currently at procurement process, very advanced. We're hoping that by next year we'll be breaking ground in terms of building the physical infrastructure.
When?
But the BMA is action. It's in action right now. They are working as we speak right now. They are working in OR Tambo. They are working in our border environment. Yeah.
And when do we track that with you? So when roughly next year can we call you the minister to say?
Well, we'll then have to see. I think now they're at a process of finalizing contractors and everything. I think once the contractors are on board, then we'll be able to say when are we going to break ground.
And you spoke a lot about the transformation, the digital transformation, about the biometrics. Please do share more about that.
Well, what we want to do is to have one digital identity, which will give us a 360-degree view of each and every citizen of the country, without them having to always carry a paper, which means that we'll have a digital passport, you'll have a digital ID. How are we doing that? We are firstly moving everyone away from the green barcoded ID to a smart ID card, so that we are able to capture their biometrics. After capturing their biometrics, it makes us easy to then build engines in the back end that will be able to enable an AI activated initiative. So that's what we're doing currently.
So AI is the way to go.
AI is the way to go. We believe that machine learning is quite going to be useful for us. It is going to make us adjudicate visas much faster, because they can learn more and store more data than a human can, and they can learn more from previous transactions in order to see risky transactions.
Are we not going to lose jobs though with AI?
No, we are not going to lose jobs. That's what everybody keeps on being worried about. If you were a person who was working at the front end, you could obviously move towards the back end in terms of driving that particular AI. We are currently running a process of reskilling our labor force so that they are able to be responsive and work with AI.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you.
I would like to know the new strategies that are in place to encourage corporations and government to employ more young people.
Yes, just recently, last year, we launched a project for the digitization of paper records, which we were doing with young people. Even in our culture change environment, we are looking more in working with young people.
Thank you so much, Minister, for having us.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.